let's talk about networking. I mean, just hearing that word, does it get you excited? Or, be honest, does it make you cringe a little bit? Yeah, if you're in that second group, you are definitely not alone. But here's the good news. There's a much, much better way to think about it. We're going to completely reframe the whole concept, get away from those awkward transactional feelings and move towards something that feels a lot more real, a lot more human.
Because for a lot of us, this is what comes to mind, right? Networking feels like this series of cold, almost technical connections. It just feels so transactional, like you're just there trying to get something from someone. And let's be real, when you look at it that way, it's not very inspiring, is it?
But what if we just completely flipped that on its head? What if networking had nothing to do with transactions? What if it was all about building genuine human relationships? Well, that is the big idea we're going to dig into today.
Okay, so here's how we're going to do it. First up, we'll tackle that big misconception, the thing that makes networking feel so icky. Then we're going to give it a brand new, way more powerful definition. After that, we'll get into the right mindset, lay out a really practical blueprint for you, and we'll wrap up with one simple, actionable thing you can start doing today. Sound good? All right, let's dive right in. For so many of us, networking just feels it feels wrong. It can be super awkward, it can bring up a lot of anxiety, and it often feels totally inauthentic. And you know what? There's a really good reason for that. You've probably heard this a million times. Your network is your net worth. It's everywhere. And look, there's some truth in there for sure. But it also puts this immense pressure on us, doesn't it? It basically frames building relationships as this high-stakes game of just collecting contacts. And that's a huge reason why it feels so uncomfortable. Now, all that pressure, it leads to this feeling right here. You know the one. You're at some event, you're supposed to be working the room, but all you're really thinking is, how can I hide? Or I would literally rather be anywhere else right now. If you've ever felt that, it is completely normal. And it's all rooted in some really common myths about what networking is. Yeah, these are the culprits right here. These are the myths that create that cringy feeling. We tell ourselves things like, oh, it's so inauthentic and selfish, or everyone's got some manipulative hidden agenda, or maybe it's a total waste of time, or it's just buttering people up. And the classic one, oh, that's just for extroverts. These are the exact mental blocks that stop us from building really meaningful connections. Okay, so if that's what networking isn't, then what is it, really? This is where we make that critical shift in perspective. It's time for a whole new definition, one that takes all that pressure off and puts the focus back on something that actually feels good and real.
Here it is. And honestly, this definition changes everything. The key phrases to zero in on here are quality relationships and mutually beneficial. See how that shifts the focus? It's not about the quantity of your contacts anymore, it's about the quality of your connections. It's not a one-way street where you're trying to take something. It's a two-way exchange of value.
And when you break it down like this, it becomes so much more approachable. I mean, look at step 1, just meeting people. Simple enough. But then pay close attention to steps 2 and 3, listening and learning, and then helping to meet their needs. It's a total give-first mentality. And from there, it's all about nurturing that relationship over the long haul.
So all of this naturally leads us to the right mindset. Because great networking, the kind that really matters, it doesn't just happen by accident. It takes a proactive approach. It's about you consciously deciding to build what we might call your social capital.
And this right here is the fundamental shift. It's about moving away from passive networking. The whole, oh, I just happen to meet this person, and moving towards something that's intentional and proactive. It means you actually think strategically about who you want to connect with and why, and then you take deliberate steps to make that happen.
A really fantastic way to think about this is the relationship bank account metaphor. Think about it. You can't just walk into a bank and make a huge withdrawal if you've never made any deposits, right? It's the same here. You can't just show up and ask for a big favor. You have to make deposits first. And those deposits, they're all about giving value, helping someone out, sharing useful information, making an introduction for them, offering support. That's how you build up that social capital over time.
And you do that because this isn't some short-term tactic. It's not a quick fix you only pull out when you need a new job. No way. This is a long-term strategy. It's really a lifelong commitment to building and nurturing a community of people that you can help and who, down the line, can help you too. Okay, so we've got the mindset down. Now, how do we actually apply this stuff strategically? This is where we get into a really practical blueprint. The key thing to understand is that you actually have 3 totally distinct networks that you need to be cultivating. All right, let's break this down. First, you've got your operational network. This is all internal. These are the folks inside your company that you rely on to get your day-to-day work done. Think about your colleagues, people on your team, or in other departments. Then there's your personal network. This one's more external. These are your peers at other companies, the people you can bounce ideas off of or exchange referrals with. And finally, and this one's crucial, is your strategic network. This is about enlisting support from key people like mentors or leaders in your industry, the people who can help you see what's on the horizon and really achieve those big, long-term career goals. You know, the most successful people, they are intentionally managing all three of these. When you start thinking about your network in these three buckets, it allows you to be so much more purposeful. You can literally sit down and map out your connections. You can see where the gaps are. Maybe your operational network is strong, but your strategic one is lacking. Then you can take proactive steps to build out the relationships you actually need to succeed. Wow. Okay, we have covered a lot of ground, from busting those myths all the way to laying out a strategic plan. But honestly, it all boils down to one single, incredibly powerful idea. If you only take away one thing from our time together, please let it be this. This question right here. This is the whole game. Before you ask for a single thing, before you even walk into a room to meet someone, just ask yourself this: how can I add value to them? That simple shift from what can I get to what can I give, it changes absolutely everything. It makes networking feel authentic, it makes it generous, and believe me, it makes it so much more effective. So let's make this real right now. Forget about those big, intimidating networking events or sending cold emails for a second. Just think about this. Who is one person, just one, in your existing network, whether it's operational, personal, or strategic, that you can add a little bit of value to this week? Seriously, maybe it's just sharing an article you know they'd find interesting, or making a helpful introduction, or even just sending a quick note of support. Start right there, because that is the true art